submersible sewage pump failed after installation, presenting welded contacts and tripped overloads. The motor windings were also found shorted to ground. Here are some potential causes. Firstly, electrical issues. Incorrect wiring such as incorrect phase sequence or reverse polarity can cause motor damage and contact welding. Secondly, voltage fluctuations such as severe voltage spikes or dips can damage the motor windings and cause contact welding. Thirdly, phase imbalance or unequal voltages across the three phases can lead to overheating and motor failure. Secondly, we consider mechanical issues. Firstly, improper alignment between the motor and pump can cause excessive vibration and contact welding. Secondly, excessive wear such as worn bearings or seals can lead to shaft misalignment and motor damage. Thirdly, insufficient cooling can be a cause. Firstly, blocked cooling passages due to debris or scale buildup in the pump volute or discharge line can restrict water flow and cause the motor to overheat. Secondly, insufficient flow rate or low flow rates through the pump can result in insufficient cooling of the motor. Fourthly, contactor issues could be the cause. Firstly, a defective contactor can lead to contact welding if it fails to open properly. Secondly, improper maintenance or lack of lubrication of the contactor can cause contact oxidation and welding. Fifthly, overload trip and reset settings are important. Firstly, improper overload setting where overloads that are set too high may not trip in time to prevent motor damage. Secondly, auto reset feature where if the overload has an auto reset feature, it may have tripped and reset multiple times, leading to cumulative damage. Sixthly, environmental factors must be considered. Firstly, extreme temperatures or high or low ambient temperatures can affect the operation of the motor and control panel. Secondly, moisture or corrosion from exposure to moisture or corrosive substances can damage motor windings and contact. Recommendations to avoid future issues include the following. Carefully inspect the wiring, voltage, and phase sequence. Check for proper pump alignment and mechanical integrity. Ensure there is no debris obstructing the cooling passages. Verify the overload setting and reset function. Inspect the contactor for defects or improper maintenance. Consider environmental factors that may affect the pump's operation. It is advised to retest the pump before reinstalling it to verify proper function. Addressing each of these potential issues systematically can help diagnose and prevent future failures. Specifically on the electrical issues, make sure the voltage coming in is correct by using a meter. It is critical to have the correct voltage, otherwise this could cause premature damage to the pump motor. Make sure the correct size wiring is being used to prevent voltage drops at the pump. On the mechanical issues, make sure the pump is aligned correctly. If the pump sits on a pad, make sure the pad is level. If not, this could cause stress on the pump motor and lead to premature failure. In regards to cooling, make sure there are no obstructions that prevent the sewage from entering the pump, which would cause the pump to overheat. On the contactor, make sure it is the correct size and voltage to feed the pump. Over time, contacts can corrode on the contactor. Check the contactor regularly to make sure it is in good working condition. Also check the control panel itself. Make sure that the fuses are properly rated for the pump. Replace any open fuses with the correct size. This also means the overload protection should be sized correctly and is critical in protecting the pump from drawing too many amps. The overload protection should be selected based on the motor's full load amp rating found on the motor nameplate. The auto reset feature can be problematic. When the pump's overload trips and resets, this can cause damage to the pump motor, which can cause premature failure. In reference to environmental conditions, be sure to follow the manufacturer's recommendations to ensure the pump's longevity. A submersible sewage pump is designed to operate while being submerged in sewage. The pump motor relies on the surrounding sewage to help keep it cool. Extreme temperatures and moisture can damage the pump's motor. The location and environment are critical factors to consider for the pump's overall health. Before putting the pump back into service, be sure to retest the pump. Submersible sewage pumps are essential for moving sewage from lift stations to treatment plants. They are often installed in a duplex arrangement, which means there are two pumps installed. One pump is a duty pump and the other is a standby pump. This provides redundancy in the event one of the pumps fails. The pumps are typically controlled by a level control system, such as floats. The floats will control when the pumps start and stop based on the sewage level. The control panel also includes alarms in the event of a high-level condition. It is imperative to monitor the health of the pumps and control panel on a regular basis. Doing so will ensure years of reliable service. In summary, there are several reasons for a submersible sewage pump to fail. There are a wide range of issues from electrical, mechanical, insufficient cooling, contactor issues, overload trip and reset issues, and environmental issues. All of the potential causes must be considered to ensure the pump is running properly and will have a long service life. There are a couple of other things to consider too. Firstly, check the impeller. Make sure there isn't anything lodged inside the impeller. If there is debris inside the impeller, this would prevent the motor from starting. The impeller should be free from any obstructions. If it is not free from obstructions, this can cause the pump motor to overheat. Secondly, make sure the check valve is operating correctly. The check valve is there to prevent backflow when the pump shuts off. If the check valve is not operating correctly, this would cause the sewage to flow backwards into the wet well. Check valves are a critical component in a lift station. Regular maintenance is required to ensure proper operation. Thirdly, ensure there is proper ventilation in the wet well. Harmful gases such as hydrogen sulfide can build up in the wet well, which is a deadly gas. These gases can also corrode equipment, causing premature failure. Ventilation is necessary to remove these harmful gases to provide a safe environment for the equipment and for personnel who enter the wet well. Fourth, make sure the pump is properly sealed. Submersible sewage pumps are sealed to prevent sewage from entering the motor. Over time, these seals can fail and allow sewage to enter the motor, which will cause the motor to fail. Seals should be inspected regularly and replaced as needed. Fifth, ensure the wet well is free from debris. Rocks, rags, and other debris can enter the wet well and clog the pump intake. This can cause the pump to overheat and fail. Regular cleaning of the wet well is necessary to prevent this from happening. Sixth, make sure the guide rails are properly installed. The guide rails are used to lower and raise the pump into the wet well. If the guide rails are not properly installed, this can cause the pump to be misaligned, which can cause the pump to fail. The guide rails should be inspected regularly to ensure they are in good condition. Seventh, check the power supply. Make sure the power supply is adequate for the pump. The power supply should be sized according to the pump manufacturer's recommendations. An undersized power supply can cause the pump to overheat and fail. 8. Ensure the pump is properly grounded. Grounding is necessary to protect personnel from electrical shock. The pump should be grounded according to the manufacturer's recommendations and local electrical codes. 9. Consider installing a soft starter. A soft starter is a device that reduces the amount of current drawn by the pump motor when it starts. This can help to prevent voltage dips and extend the life of the pump motor. 10th, monitor the pump's performance. Monitoring the pump's performance can help to identify potential problems early on. Performance parameters such as flow rate, pressure, and current can be monitored. This information can be used to schedule maintenance and prevent failures. These factors can all contribute to premature pump failure. In the case of the 60 horsepower 460 volt submersible sewage pump, it is recommended that a qualified electrician and mechanic be involved to further troubleshoot the cause of failure. Without further testing, it is impossible to determine the exact cause of failure. Furthermore, it is imperative to follow all local and national codes when working with electrical and mechanical equipment. Safety should be the #1 priority at all times. A submersible sewage pump is a very dangerous piece of equipment. Sewage contains harmful bacteria and viruses. Avoid contact with sewage. Wear appropriate PPE when working with sewage pumps. Make sure the power is off before working on the pump. Follow lockout-tagout procedures. Only qualified personnel should work on submersible sewage pumps. Failure to follow safety precautions can result in serious injury or death. It is also important to consult the pump's manual for specific installation and maintenance instructions. The manual will provide information on the pump's operating parameters, troubleshooting tips, and maintenance schedules. Following the manufacturer's recommendations will help to ensure the pump operates reliably and safely. Also, make sure to keep records. Keeping records of pump maintenance, repairs, and performance can help to identify trends and prevent future failures. The records should include the date of the service, the work performed, and the parts replaced. These records can be used to develop a preventative maintenance program. A preventative maintenance program is a schedule of regular maintenance tasks that are performed to prevent failures. The program should be based on the pump manufacturer's recommendations and the operating conditions of the pump. A well-designed preventative maintenance program can help to extend the life of the pump and reduce the risk of failures. In conclusion, troubleshooting a submersible sewage pump failure requires a systematic approach. Start by gathering information about the failure, such as the symptoms, the operating conditions, and the maintenance history. Then, use this information to identify potential causes of the failure. Once the potential causes have been identified, perform tests to confirm the cause of the failure. After the cause of the failure has been confirmed, take corrective action to repair the pump and prevent future failures. By following these steps, you can effectively troubleshoot a submersible sewage pump failure and keep your system operating reliably. It is critical to ensure the electrical connections are tight. Loose connections can cause the pump motor to overheat and fail. The electrical connections should be inspected regularly and tightened as needed. Use a torque wrench to tighten the connections to the manufacturer's specification. Also, check the condition of the cables. Damaged cables can cause electrical shorts and other problems. The cables should be inspected regularly for damage and replaced as needed. Protect the cables from physical damage by routing them through conduit or other protective measures. Inspect the wet well for signs of corrosion. Corrosion can damage the pump and other equipment in the wet well. The wet well should be inspected regularly for corrosion and repaired as needed. Apply a protective coating to the wet well to prevent corrosion. Finally, be aware of confined space hazards. Wet wells are often confined spaces, which can pose a variety of hazards such as lack of oxygen, toxic gases, and engulfment. Follow confined space entry procedures when working in a wet well. Use a gas monitor to check for hazardous gases before entering the wet well. Have a trained rescuer standing by in case of an emergency. The cost of running the submersible sewage pump should also be considered. Energy costs can be reduced by optimizing the pump's operation. For example, the pump can be programmed to run during off-peak hours when electricity rates are lower. Variable frequency drives can be used to adjust the pump speed to match the flow rate, which can save energy. Regular maintenance can also help to improve the pump's efficiency. Keep the pump clean and free of debris. Lubricate the pump's bearings regularly. Replace worn parts as needed. These measures can help to reduce energy costs and extend the life of the pump. When a submersible sewage pump fails, it is important to have a plan in place to deal with failure. The plan should include the following elements. Firstly, a backup pump. A backup pump should be available to replace the failed pump. The backup pump should be the same size and capacity as the failed pump. Secondly, spare parts. A supply of spare parts should be available to repair the failed pump. The spare parts should include common items such as bearings, seals, and impellers. Thirdly, a qualified technician. A qualified technician should be available to repair the failed pump. The technician should have experience working on submersible sewage pumps. Fourthly, a repair facility. A repair facility should be available to repair the failed pump. The repair facility should have the necessary tools and equipment to repair the pump. Fifthly, a disposal plan. A disposal plan should be in place to dispose of the failed pump. The failed pump should be disposed of in accordance with all applicable regulations. Finally, a communication plan. A communication plan should be in place to communicate the failure to all affected parties. The communication plan should include contact information for the backup pump supplier, the spare parts supplier, the qualified technician, the repair facility, and the disposal facility. In addition, it would be beneficial to consider surge protection. Electrical surges can damage the pump motor and other electrical components. Surge protection devices can be installed to protect the pump from electrical surges. Surge protection devices should be installed on the power supply to the pump and on the control panel. Surge protection devices should be tested regularly to ensure they are working properly.